When one speaks of auspicious energy, one is not speaking of something distant in the sky, or hidden in sacred places alone. It is not a treasure waiting at the end of a difficult journey. It is the subtle current of harmony that begins within the mind and quietly extends into every breath, every word, and every action. To manifest auspicious energy is to first understand that life mirrors the inner landscape. When the mind is restless, divided, or clouded with craving and aversion, the world appears equally unsettled. But when the mind becomes clear, steady, and kind, even ordinary moments begin to glow with a quiet blessing. The path begins here, not outside. One must begin with awareness of thought. Each thought is like a seed. Some seeds grow into peace, while others grow into confusion. When thoughts are driven by anger, jealousy, or fear, they scatter heavy energy into one's life. But when thoughts are guided by patience, gratitude, and understanding, they shape an atmosphere of ease and lightness. To cultivate auspicious energy is to become careful with the seeds planted in the soil of the mind. Speech follows thought, and thus it carries great power. Speech that is harsh, dishonest, or careless disturbs the subtle balance around us. Even if the effect is not immediately seen, yet speech that is gentle, truthful, and timely becomes like a calming wind, softening tension wherever it flows. One who wishes to invite auspicious energy must learn to speak as if every word leaves an imprint on the air, because it does. Action completes the triangle of creation. Every deed, no matter how small, contributes to the atmosphere one lives in. Acts rooted in harm or selfishness create heaviness, while acts rooted in generosity and compassion create lightness. Even the simplest gesture, offering help, showing respect, or refraining from harm, becomes a channel through which auspicious energy enters life. It is not the size of the action that matters, but the purity of intention behind it. Yet there is a deeper foundation still, the state of inner stillness. A restless heart cannot hold auspicious energy for long. Like water disturbed by wind, it cannot reflect the sky clearly. But when stillness is cultivated through mindful breathing, silent awareness, or quiet reflection, the heart becomes like a calm lake. In that calmness, clarity arises naturally, and auspicious energy is no longer something sought after. It is something recognized as already present. Gratitude is another key that opens hidden doors. When attention is fixed only on what is lacking, energy becomes constricted and heavy. But when attention turns toward what is already present, the breath, the body, the simple gifts of each day, the mind expands. Gratitude transforms perception, and in transformed perception, life itself feels more aligned, more supported, more meaningful. Auspicious energy grows wherever appreciation is practiced sincerely. Auspicious energy begins within the mind. Suvi, life reflects inner thoughts. A calm, clear, and kind mind naturally attracts harmony, while negative emotions disturb one's energy field. Auspicious energy begins its silent journey within the depths of the mind, where every thought is born before it ever touches the world. The outer life that one experiences is not separate from this inner source. Rather, it is a reflection shaped and colored by it. When the mind is filled with confusion, anger, jealousy, or fear, life begins to feel heavy and obstructed, as though every step meets invisible resistance. But when the mind is gently trained toward clarity, patience, and kindness, even the simplest moments begin to feel open, light, and supportive. In this way, the quality of one's inner world becomes the foundation of the energy that surrounds one's life. Each thought is like a subtle seed planted in the soil of consciousness. Some seeds grow quickly into peaceful experiences, while others take root in suffering and unrest. If one is unaware of the nature of these seeds, the mind becomes a field of disorder. But through awareness, one learns to observe thoughts before they grow into habits and reactions. This awareness is not forceful. It is calm and steady, like watching clouds pass through an open sky. Without attachment, in this space of observation, harmful thoughts lose their power, while wholesome thoughts are gently nurtured. Thoughts, speech, and actions shape destiny. Every thought is a seed, every word carries power, and every action creates consequences that either build or weaken. Auspicious energy. Thoughts shape the inner world, but speech carries that inner world outward, where it begins to influence the environment and the lives of others. Every word spoken is not just sound. It is energy given form. It travels beyond the speaker and settles into the space between people, leaving impressions that can either soften the heart or create distance. When speech is guided by anger, impatience, or dishonesty, it disturbs the natural flow of harmony. Even if the effects are not immediately visible, they accumulate quietly, shaping relationships and experiences in subtle ways. To manifest auspicious energy through speech, one must first become aware of the pause between thought and expression. In that brief moment lies the power of transformation. A reactive word can be withheld, and a harmful intention can be softened before it takes form. When speech is filtered through mindfulness, it naturally becomes more measured and kind. Truth becomes the foundation, but truth is expressed with compassion rather than force. In this way, words become a bridge rather than a barrier. Mindful and compassionate living is essential. Speaking gently, acting kindly, and practicing compassion toward others naturally generate positive and balanced energy. Action is where inner intention becomes visible in the world, while thoughts shape the mind and speech shapes relationships. Action determines the true direction of one's life. Every deed, no matter how small, carries energy that continues to ripple outward long after the moment has passed. A single act of kindness can soften a difficult situation, just as a single act of harm can create lasting tension. Because of this, action is one of the most powerful ways to either invite or block auspicious energy. To cultivate positive energy through action, one must begin with awareness of intention. Before acting, There is always a moment of choice. Even if it is brief, in that moment, one can ask silently whether the action comes from generosity or from selfish desire, from compassion or from irritation. When awareness is present, actions become more deliberate and less reactive. This shift alone begins to transform the quality of life. Even simple actions carry deep meaning, offering help without expectation, showing respect to others, or choosing not to cause harm in small situations, all contribute to a field of harmony. These are not grand gestures, but they shape the subtle atmosphere in which one lives. Over time, such actions build a foundation of trust and goodwill, both within oneself and in the surrounding environment. Inner stillness and gratitude amplify positivity. Cindy. A quiet, aware mind and a heart full of gratitude expand inner peace and allow auspicious energy to flow freely. Inner stillness is the quiet foundation upon which all auspicious energy rests. Without it, even good thoughts, kind words, and positive actions can become scattered and unstable, like seeds thrown on dry or windy ground. With stillness, however, everything finds its natural place. The mind becomes spacious, and in that space clarity arises without effort. Stillness is not emptiness in a negative sense. It is a living calmness in which awareness becomes sharp, yet gentle, present yet unforced. In daily life, the mind is often pulled in many directions. Memories of the past, concerns about the future, and reactions to the present moment continuously compete for attention. This constant movement creates inner noise, and in that noise, auspicious energy struggles to settle. But when one learns to observe this movement without becoming lost in it, a different quality of awareness emerges. Thoughts still arise, but they no longer dominate. Emotions still appear, but they no longer control the entire field of experience. This is where practices such as mindful breathing and silent observation become meaningful. By simply returning attention to the breath or to the present moment, the mind gradually learns to rest. At first, this rest is brief and unstable, but with patience it becomes more natural. In that resting, a deep sense of ease begins to grow. One realizes that peace was never something to be created, but something to be uncovered beneath layers of distraction. Letting go creates space for harmony, releasing attachment, resentment, and anxiety removes inner heaviness, allowing natural peace and positive energy to arise. Gratitude is a quiet force that transforms the way energy moves through life. It does not depend on changing external circumstances, but on changing the way those circumstances are seen. When attention is placed only on what is missing, the mind becomes narrow, restless, and dissatisfied. In such a state, even abundance feels insufficient. But when attention shifts toward what is already present, a subtle expansion begins within the heart. This expansion is the beginning of auspicious energy taking root. To live with gratitude is to recognize the simple gifts that often go unnoticed. The breath that continues without effort, the body that supports movement, the presence of food, shelter, and the possibility of learning and growth. All of these become sources of quiet appreciation when these are truly acknowledged, not just intellectually, but inwardly felt. The mind softens, it stops resisting life and begins to flow with it. Gratitude also changes the emotional tone of experience. Difficult situations do not disappear, but they are no longer interpreted as purely negative. Even challenges begin to reveal hidden lessons or opportunities for inner strength. This shift in perception reduces inner conflict and allows a more balanced response to life's ups and downs.